Terrell Thomas, we're live right now in Atlanta and doing things in alcohol with a brewery.
Right.
Formerly go by the name of Nappy Roots. I'm with the one and only Skinny, 808, and Fish Scale. How you gentlemen feel today?
Feeling great, man. In a good place. Beer, music, we heavily involved in both, so things are good.
So let me ask you gentlemen now, of course we know about what you've done in the hip hop world, several hits, several accolades in that world, but shifting into beer, how did that all come about?
Evolution. I think Scales was Scales' idea. He was an avid craft beer drinker, and as all things do over time, instead of drinking the beer and spending money, it was like, we should try to make it. And he came to me one day and was like, I know how to make beer now. And I was like, tell me. Yeah. And then he told me over the phone the whole process. And then he said he knew a guy. He said, I got a guy that he said he'll come by and show us how to do it using his equipment. One thing led to another, and we're out here now making beer. Like I said, Scales and his friend showed us how to do it. We did a few collaborations, two with Monday Night, and one with the Grain. And then in those two relationships of us making beer and us knowing people that can make beer on a major level and get it out, we started Atlantucky, and this is where we're at right now, which is Atlantucky R&D.
So to do something like that, this is the second venture that you gentlemen have started off in. Of course, first you started off in music, now doing things like this. Talk to me about how you gentlemen all met back home in Kentucky.
Well, I'm the youngest to the group. I'm from Atlanta, and I've been touring with them as their DJ for the last 7 years, and then I've been producing for the last 9 years for them. And it's just like we all started, just how they met in college. It all started with like friendship. You know what I'm saying? Like came together, we started talking over things, and as that evolved, the music part of, that's kind of how we became really good friends, was touring and going on the road and stuff. And just with this beer stuff, it's just, what I'm saying, we've been meeting so many people just out of just traveling and meeting different people and asking people's opinions on beers and stuff like that. And it just kind of evolved. I mean, that's how we've grown over the years, what I'm saying, as Nappy Roots. And we about, how many albums are we into it now? 7, 8?
7.
Yeah, 7.
Working on our 8th album.
Yeah. So, it's one of those interesting things to find people you've been friends with for 20 years. You know what I'm saying? It's one of the anomalies, especially if you're making money with your friends. That's tough. You don't see too many people that stay friends for as long as we have. And shout out to Buffalo Steel and Ron Clutch in Louisville. But we all still are, at the core of it, still real good friends.
Right. And Kentucky is always going to be a big part of Nappy Roots. Even with our new venture, Atlantucky. We're mostly in Atlanta, but we can never leave Kentucky out. So everything we do will be basically rooted in Kentucky. And we have moved the operation to Atlanta because I'm from Milledgeville, Georgia. Okay. I was always the one of the members that was not from Kentucky. And so we always represented Georgia and Kentucky. So that's why I love where we're headed with the beer, with the whole beer thing, is Atlantucky. That kind of sums up totally who we are and who we've been the past 15, 20 years.
Now you've already given me something dope to sample and it tastes wonderful. So I want you to kind of break down and explain to our audience the process on when you're creating the beers, creating the craft beers, and also give me a few flavors that you're working on.
Yeah, the process, like Skinny said, I called him that one day because we had been going to breweries. And it's weird because everybody was telling us how to make beer. They was telling us the whole process, but we just looking, we heard it over and over, but it never sunk in for some reason. We even looking at the machine, seeing how they make beer, but it's just like, let's go back and drink some beer. It really didn't hit us until one day it hit me like, okay, this is for that, the hops is for this, and the yeast is for that. And that's just the basic. Like, we still don't know how to make beer completely at this point. We're still learning. But that was the beginning, like learning the simple process behind making beer. So now we're at a stage where me and Skinny, we sit back a day before we even start making beer and we think of what we want to make and how we can make it different from everybody else, what anybody else is doing, because there's only so many beers out there. There's a lot of different ways you can make the beers, but you got your Hefeweizens, your stouts, your porters. You can name about 30 different beers, but you have to stay within that somewhat. So we always trying to find a new beer we haven't made, or beer we have, and just see how we can tweak it and put the Nappy Roots to it. And that's kind of the process in a nutshell without going into details of the equipment we actually use. But we decided beer, and we try to add the country fried to it. And the ones we got on tap that you just tasted is the Belgium, Triple Belgium. And that's kind of a new beer. I don't think many people who are non-craft beer drinkers have really had a Belgium. Okay. You know, it's a stronger beer, sweet and strong at the same time. So if you ever go to a brewery, make sure you check out a Belgium. What you think?
I love it so far. I don't want to be an alcoholic on camera. I keep looking at it out the corner of my eye, like I'm gonna get to it.
It's a good beer.
So you gentlemen were also recently on tour.
We're kind of on it now, and kind of how we tour. We try to get to about 100 shows a year.
Okay.
Since we went independent, we started off doing about 150, trying to keep up with Tech 9, and we found out that's kind of like a lot of wear and tear on the body. But we still like to get out there, meet our fans, and just rap. Take these beats that we've been, working on in these songs and get them out there to the people. They want to hear a good show, and we want to give it to them. So this last run we were on, beginning of the summer, is called the Great American Beer Run, and we're tying it into what we're doing now because we have beer to promote. We have the Watermelon Chiquen Gritz, that the collaboration we did with Monday Night, and that distribution got us into Chicago, the whole state of Kentucky, and 70 cases came down here to Georgia. And so we want to get that beer out there to the world, so the best way to do that is to do it with our fans. And so we go out there, hit a city, and we find a good brewery that's kind of cohesive and conducive to what we do. They like hip-hop, they like drinking beer, they know who we are. They say, cool, come through. We go through there with some beer. We chop it up with them, take a tour, They give us some of their beer, we give them some of ours, and then that night, we hit a show at a nice, dope hip-hop venue in the city. And our fans, they know about it, and everybody comes out, there's weed in the air, there's beer being drank, there's liquor, there's bourbon, and everyone has a good time and goes home safe, and we go to the next city and we just do that, and so that's the Great American Beer Run. We're on that now. We go back out the end of this month, or middle of this month. We have 2 shows that we're doing this month.
Where you at?
We'll be in Kentucky.
Okay.
We're going to Louisville. We have the Loud House Music Fest that we're doing. That's actually at a brewery, so that's going to be dope. That's the 18th of July. And after that, school starts back. For me, I like to try to keep it light in August because my kids are going back to school. I got a son. I'm actually missing his birthday this year because I have that show, but I like to try to be around as much as I can at the beginning of school, just to, give them that fatherly push. That. So our schedule's kind of light this month, but we'll get back at it in September and October. We'll be hanging out at A3C this year, doing some cool things with beer, hopefully. And, we're out here, man. Nappy Roots, we're not going nowhere. We're just getting into bigger and better things, We're just trying to expand in our horizons. And I always say I want to retire from rap. I don't want to, quit cold turkey, but I want to retire from having to rap, but I love it. But you don't want to end up 52, 60, and you didn't figure out something else that you could have done with your youthful days and your time that you had when you weren't in the studio, And we have a song called Looking Grown where I'm in the studio, I'm on the road, and I'm just not even thinking. And next thing you know, 15, 20 years has passed, and you're like, damn, where'd the time go? And it's when you miss the little things like your family and your kids. And so for me, I'm trying to slow it down just a little bit to appreciate the awesomeness that I've been blessed with, you know what I'm saying? So doing things like making beer and being creative still allows me to be creative and spreads my whole mind and my taste palette. I'm learning, I'm meeting new people, and you know what I'm saying? And the craft beer industry is dope because everyone's cool, you know what I'm saying? They're willing to help you out, and you can talk about what beer you like and why, what ABV it is, and what the hydrometer read, and what grains did you use for this, and it's like, I get that. And a year ago, I didn't even care about it, So it's crazy that I found something that I didn't even know I was excited about and passionate about. And now I'm able to get good at something else like I was at rap, because I feel like I've done a lot in rap. The Grammy nominations, working with Anthony Hamilton, working with Jazzy Faye, working with Raphael Sadiq, working with David Banner, it goes on and on and on. Kanye West, Lil Jon, from when we came out, that was it. Those were the artists to hanging out in the studio with T.I. when we started, man. I had so many stories. Blake gets tired of hearing these stories sometimes about how crazy our life is, and just to do that and have that, but still do something else. You can't just be consumed with one thing. And so for me, that's the story.
But speaking of music, I'm not gonna let it slide. I heard you kind of sneak in there a moment ago. We're working on a new project.
Yeah.
So talk to me about the project. Do you have a title for the project, a release date, and what we can expect?
We don't have a title right now. We're thinking about early 2019.
Okay.
We'll probably we'll be working on putting that basically in conjunction with we're working on a TV show. That's kind of also been our big thing about our endeavor into craft beer, and basically all the different breweries that we've been able to touch over the course of the last 3-4 years. We've been able to go to so many different places in small towns that have really dope breweries and stuff like that. So that's been it's going to be in conjunction with the TV show, and we're really excited about that. That's been where I've been doing most of my focus. When they've been making the beer, is pitching this show about the beer. But we're all 100% about craft beer and making our own beer. So we're excited about the show. I mean, I'm going to do more of executive producing than actually producing everything on there, but I'm still going to have my input on how it should go. And really, right now, one of the bigger things that I look for them is finding youth that's dope to put them with next to certain records. Like our last album, we had Earth Gang and Forte Bowie. And Earth Gang just signed with J. Cole. And
They going on tour, right?
Yeah, they on tour. They just got announced for his tour, and then Forte, he just wrote Jacquees's big song "Bed."
Hella talented.
Yeah, so it's like and Jaron Ben, that's the Brody right there. And you know what I'm saying? It's like we've done a lot, but if you can grab some of these youth and work with them and show them a little bit about where you've been or where you're from, and give them a little bit of your knowledge from there, I think it's cool. It keeps you relevant, and it also it showcases that you care about seeing the future of hip hop forward. And so that's kind of a big thing for us, is working with, up and comers that are doing stuff. Like we work with Jack Harlow, who's just signed with Drama. He's a good dude.
He's from Louisville.
Yeah,
right? Okay,
yeah. So that's kind of my thing, is finding that talent, and whether it be producers or singers or young rappers that they can kind of work with and kind of mold them into different songs with them. So it'll be a little bit of that on this next one for sure. So we're excited about that.
Yeah, for sure. So Fisker, let me ask. But from what I have seen and the limited knowledge I have on breweries, you don't see too many African Americans. So have when you guys are out in the mix and whatnot, have you been encountering other African Americans who give you advice and when it comes to these breweries and kind of share and express what you have going on?
So glad you asked. The audience, the demographic for craft beer is definitely a white male, probably 24 to 40 white male, and that's no secret. But one of our missions is to introduce craft beer to the black community. Because we like nice things too. Like we like more than just Corona and Heineken. And as well introduce the black community to craft beer. Like we think there's a relationship there there's no relationship yet. And we want to be some of the first pioneers to bring that. And right here in Atlanta, a black city, you have craft beer breweries popping up everywhere and so many black consumers, and there's no relationship between the two. And we feel like that's a great opportunity for us to be right in the middle of that.
Okay.
And I feel like come on, man. The stores that are in our neighborhoods, come on, we seeing 211. Loco,
Crazy.
Bud Ice at best, Bud Ice and Ice House. Come on, like a lot of mature people, we like nice fine wines, fine cheese, fine beer. Like let's get that in. I go to restaurants, black restaurants, they got $50 plates, but only Corona and Heineken. So I think it'll do well once we learn about it, and that's one of our missions, to pioneer that.
What's the ultimate goal with it? Like, I know you have the flavors that you're already releasing, but what's the ultimate goal? Do you see yourselves having a large brewery and having it distribute all throughout the nation?
I mean, yeah, I would like that. Well, first, I would like for the black communities to benefit more from these breweries that are popping up in the black communities. And, a lot of times breweries are the first thing that come to a black neighborhood that's fit to be gentrified.
You see that on the West End?
You see that, yeah. And that's one of the first signs. You see a craft brewery pop up, the neighborhood is probably fit to change, which can be a good thing. It's just everybody need to benefit from that, and we wanna make sure that happens. And as far as us, I would just like to make the best beer in the world, and not so concerned about having a big brewery, but I would like for everybody to have our beer. You know, and that might mean being a gypsy brewer, where you go around and make beers at other places, and you somehow, and I think that's a good way to get your beer around the world, because distribution laws are it's messed up. You know, it's kind of hard for you to sell beer in each state in America, because you have to do distribution deals, and you know, it's a long story on that. But yeah, I would like to get my beer around the world. Yeah.
So let me ask you, gentlemen. I want to ask all three of you, gentlemen, your favorite flavor. You know, what do you enjoy the most? Fitzgerald, we're gonna start with you and come right around. What has been your favorite flavor so far?
Easy for me is stouts. They're heavy. You mostly drink them in the fall and winter, but hands down, it's the most complex. And we did one called Humdinger, which is probably our best beer.
Okay.
But yeah, stout. Yeah, we made a Kentucky Mud here, which was our fourth beer, I think. Chocolate stout. And you know, it's kind of a dessert beer. Sweet, can be sweet, but again, if you ever go to a brewery, look for a good stout. Ask for your best stout.
Bourbon barrel.
Okay.
Yeah.
808, what you rocking with?
See me, I like more. I used to really like IPA. Now I'm moving more to pale ale because IPA is giving me a headache. But I love a good pale ale. I really got into like pepper beers. So they got certain people. Monday Night Brewery used to have a really good Serrano pepper beer, and shout out to Oconee Brewing. They got a really good pepper beer. Yeah, they got a good habanero pale ale. So yeah, I'm all about the IPAs, pale ale. You know what I'm saying?
School me. I hear a lot about IPAs.
Okay. IPAs would probably be, if you go in craft beer, it's probably your most popular. You know, it's most widely accepted. It's a little bit thicker, a little bit hoppier. Okay. And you know, it's just most if you're any good brewery, you start with a good pale ale IPA because it's just easier for people to drink. I mean, a stout is thick and it's an acquired taste. Okay. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It just takes, you got to really like beer to really get into the porters and the stouts because they're just they're not your normal. They're not the Bud Light or the Coors Light, what you grew up on, or what your uncle used to be drinking. Nah, it's a little bit thicker. It's more German than that. So yeah, that's why pale ales have gotten so popular. Is just because it's like the next step. If you've been going to Coors Lights and then drinking Bud Light, you'll probably enjoy a good pale ale IPA. So that's probably why most people and most breweries start off with that first.
Okay. Skinny, how about you?
Yeah, I'm kind of like Blake. I'm working on a pepper beer called Red Hot Skinny Pepper, and I'm on version 3.
So how is that crafted? Do you use an actual pepper in the process?
Yeah. The first time's crazy. First time I used Japone chilies. Okay. And then the first time I soaked them in Kentucky moonshine, and that took the beer to a whole nother and your mind to a whole nother place. To make a pepper beer that's not hot, but it has the flavor of the pepper. And so what I do with the Red Hot Skinny Peppers, I'm gonna bounce around with a couple different ones. I use the Japone chilies. I have some habanero peppers over there that I'm waiting to put in as it gets a little cooler towards the fall.
Do you grow the peppers yourselves?
No, but I want to use local farmers to find some peppers though. Okay. I got to get my pepper game up, but I got the idea from Monday Night who they made their beer. They have an eye patch and they messed it up, and how they fixed it was putting Serrano peppers in it, and that was me actually the first time I really appreciated actually a craft beer, really, because I was like, wow, you can do this to a beer. You can make it taste like this all the time.
I never know that myself.
And it was in a bottle, and it was like, wow, the flavors and what came out of it, the flavors overpowered what I didn't really like about beer at the beginning was the hoppy flavor. And, you know, the cold piss kind of thing if you don't drink beer.
Super bitter.
You know what I'm saying? It is bitter, it is hoppy, and sometimes you don't, you know, most people that are new to beer, they don't appreciate it because their palate's not really conditioned for that. You got to fight through that part of it. And then, you know, if you can drink a Corona, you can drink a Heineken, you can drink a Red Stripe, you can drink a Michelob Ultra, you can drink what do you drink? A Bud Light. You're already kind of playing around with different styles already. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So if you can appreciate all of those, then you can kind of go into the craft beer and it opens up to like a crossword puzzle or seek and find. Then it gets crazy. So when I realized that you can put peppers in beer and it tastes like that, I was hooked. I was like, I got to figure out how to make a pepper beer because they stopped making it. It was like a one-time thing. Once it was out because it was an accident. But they played it off and they put it on the box. They got it into the stores, and you could pick that up in Publix. You know, me and Blake was going to Publix and finding Serranos, and they was getting to the end. It's like one left, and you couldn't get them no more. And I was like, oh shit. I'm making beer now. I'm gonna make my own because I do like the flavor of just a little bit of just. It ain't really necessarily heat. It's just the flavor. I'm a flavor guy, man. Like so. I put hot sauce on chicken, you know. I keep a little bit of, you know, Cajun sparkle with me. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm with it. So for me, I would say a pepper beer. But I also like stouts. I also like the porter. We made a vanilla porter with some real vanilla beans. That was really good.
Okay.
He made a strawberry shortcake, which was a cream ale.
Oh, y'all getting it.
That was really good. That was really good. Made a IPA, a Southern IPA. Which I took the flake oats out and I added
a Southern IPA.
Well, I was trying to figure out what makes a Southern IPA because there isn't one. Kind of called like an East Coast IPA. There's a West Coast IPA, which is clearly from West Coast, and there's an IPA, and it's different. There's a black IPA, white IPA, red IPA. There's different levels of IPA, but it's not a Southern IPA. And being that we're a Southern hip hop group, my mind starts thinking if there's not nothing there, how can we create something that's not there for us? So I've been told that it's not really a style unless enough people make it one. So I just said, okay, what makes one? And I talked to my good friend Peter at Monday night, and he said, easy, just put grits in there instead of oats. And I was like, oh. So instead of flaked oats for this white IPA that we made, I used instant grits. And I don't know, it was subtle changes, you know, but little things like that are just subtle changes that can change the whole flavor if you do something else. Like on our honey, I drunk the beer, we use a pound of honey with our weed. So it's American honey weed. You know, but I also use a pound of honey in the Red Hot Skinny Pepper to take the heat off. If there's ever any heat, the honey will kind of smooth it out. Okay. And so like little things like that. So I stopped rapping and just make beer and be some bootleggers. You know what I'm saying? If we started like that, we'd be stupid straight now. But you know, that's the thing about craft beer too. Is like you got to start now if you want to be a craft brewer. So in 4 or 5 years, when it is to these guys, why they still rapping, give it up. Could be 10 years from now. 52 then, you know what I'm saying? I'm getting old. I started it when I was 25. I can't act like, time ain't a motherfucker, But we're still here. God is good, man. We're blessed. We have a dope fan base. We have dope families that support what we do, and that's really what it is like, we're still here because of family supporting us.
So let our audience know also, man, we were talking a little bit briefly off camera when you were getting things together about how long it actually takes the process when you're creating the beer, how many days it takes and everything in that nature.
Home brewing usually takes 21 days when you're doing it on this level. We found a way to get it down to 17, 14 days, 14 to 17 depending on the beer. But that's through some secrets we've learned, through some good friends we met. But I'm kind of imitating what they do in the bigger breweries because they get beer done in 10 days. They can do it in 10 days consistently, no problem at all. And that takes certain equipment. But we've just scaled that far down and took the same science that they're using to make a beer in 10 days. And probably the best we'll ever do in a nano brewery like this, 14 days. Okay. We have a beer ready, which is pretty good, man. Like we can start and we can have it done in 2 weeks. We drinking, on that 15th day. So that's pretty good.
You rose.
So are there any flavors? I hear you talking about the chocolate that you threw out there, the strawberry shortcake. Are there any flavors as of yet that you're still looking to experiment with?
Well, let me say to your last question, too, it takes 7 days to actually get the alcohol in the beer for it to ferment. And the rest of the days is just pretty much the beer filtering itself, clearing itself out to look nice and clear like you want it. So a lot of times 14 days of just clearing itself out. You can start drinking after that 7th day if you just didn't give a damn. But so that's why it takes so long. But you asked about the strawberry shortcake.
Yeah, so are there any flavors as of yet that you want to experiment with that you haven't already?
Not really, man. That was the one I really wanted to do. A strawberry something.
Did you use actual strawberries in it?
Yeah. Well, we got a few secrets. I don't know if I want to tell everything.
Okay, no, I respect that.
But what happened with this young hef, which is I think my favorite beer that we have now, is a Hefeweizen that we put strawberry flavor in.
Okay.
And Skinny tasted it, and he came back and said, first of all, Hefeweizen is a beer that naturally tastes kind of like banana. and you put no banana flavor in, the yeast itself does that flavor, and that's very unique for a beer. There's certain kind of yeast that'll give you a banana flavor. So we decided to put even more banana flavor in it on top of the strawberry, and it just took it over the top, man. One of the best beers that I want to keep making over and over. And we're working on doing beers with real strawberry, but it's just hard because everything you put into a beer has to be super clean, has to be distilled, taking everything clean out of it, like no bacteria. So it's hard to do it on this level, straight fruit, you know. But we're working on that. Our watermelon chicken and grits beer was done with real watermelon.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're right, but it was, watermelon. I want to take the cream ale that we made, strawberry shortcake, and when we were in Montana, I got some butterscotch sugars. Yeah. And they actually are fermentable in the beer, so I'm interested in seeing if I can make a butterscotch cream ale.
Okay.
And for the fall, the summertime we're trying to keep it kind of light and something you can kind of drink because it's hot, But as we start getting a little cooler out there, we can start playing a little bit more with different styles and adding some more flavors to. I want to get back to the pumpkin porter that we made, a pumpkin spice,
That's
something.
probably one I would like to try again.
I think that was like our second or third beer we made with minimum equipment. We was on this pot right here in a turkey fryer trying to make a pumpkin porter, way out of our league. But that's kind of how we are, man. Just do something that we know possibly we don't know how to do, figure out how to do it, try to do it, and then if we can do it again.
Where can our audience, if they want to, after this interview immediately, if they want to try to go get a watermelon chicken and grits or taste some of your beer, where is it currently right now?
Well, I would say go to Atlantucky.com because we'll keep you posted on where we'll be and where all of the what our stores have the watermelon chicken and grits. And we did a limited edition, sold out really quick, but we're working on the next batch in September, if not earlier. But stay in touch with us at Atlantucky.com. We'll have all the information updated on when it's coming out.
If you're in the Atlanta area, you can try possibly Hop City if they have any left, or Greens.
Okay.
On Ponce.
Okay.
Like I said, 70 cases came to Atlanta, but that was back in May. Oh, Georgia area. We grabbed up a few and took them with us, and I cannot tell you exactly how many are left. But we are doing another a reboot of it in September. So we're doing double what we did the first time, and it's going more places. So if you don't see it now, just stay tuned. This fall, you will be able to see it a couple more places than what I mentioned earlier, so it'll be dope. Yeah.
Let our audience know where they can follow you on social media.
Oh, man, you can check us out at Nappy Roots on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, on YouTube, Nappy Roots TV. NappyRoots.com is the main place I would send people to, and they can go from there and find us because everything kind of comes to that. You can check out Nappy Head Shop on Instagram, too, for our merch. And check out some of the styles that way, nappyheadshop.com. We also have a podcast called Nappy Hour. Okay. You can find that and listen to that on iTunes, Apple Music.
When do you gentlemen do that?
We try to do it once a week, several times a month. Okay. We've been slipping in our pimping here the last maybe 30 days because we've been on the road. The last one we did was actually at the beer release in May, I hate to say. Damn, it's been that long. Gotta get back at it. But no, we got about 30, 45 episodes already up. So if you don't listen to it right now, you can always go back and hear them when you want to at your leisure. So they're there too. So we're everywhere, man. We're just making music, having fun, making beer now, drinking beer, touring, raising kids, making new music, and living life.
We're looking forward to seeing what you gentlemen have coming up in the beer. We're looking forward to the beginning of 2019 for your new project to drop as well. I'm Terrell Thomas, out here live right now with Nappy Roots. Make sure you check these gentlemen out, check out their website, and stay tuned. We're bringing you a lot more information for what these brothers are doing.